got our faithful in here, and I think we have our faithful online. So this is the third of our three-part book study with with Kristine. Karen should feel really good because I keep saying Karen. It's karma. We've been texting this morning, but and she's on the online bunch. But um, Kristine, I feel like what your book has done, it's been life changing for me. Every few years in this Parkinson's journey, something happens that just changes everything about how we're operating. And it usually happens when we're thinking, what next? What next? And getting a little bit, thank you for the water, getting a little bit, frustrated. And are we spinning our wheels and just wasting our time? And then
Yeah.
something comes along, and you are that something for these years. You've given us so much good direction, and the way you put this information together. I don't know if you saw, but on the post this weekend about our legislation, I had a few people that I knew. One person I knew that emailed me privately and said, my husband was diagnosed just this past year. I did not realize that. And then a couple of people that I told them that the first thing they need to do is get your book. So, and read that so they'll know what they're doing. And people in this room here have realized that they can change their lives for the better. And you got to feel great about that. I'm blessed to be able to carry that message and that as a mission. I just think it's been wonderful. So, do you want to do a quick recap of um, we don't have to do too big a recap because most of these people have been here.
Okay.
Kind of the what you think about all this.
Yeah. So we started with the opening of the book, which is really about the science and kind of the history of Parkinson's exercise and really the scientists that have spent more than 20 years proving that exercise is a genuine therapy for people with Parkinson's. And that not only is it a genuine therapy, but it is the only modality that can help slow the progression of the disease. And that truly is the message that people don't know about. And that, yes, we do need surgery. Yes, we do need medicine, but we need all that stuff to help us exercise. And so, and then we touched on the big cocktail plan, and the message there is that everybody is so unique. Everybody's unique in their Parkinson's and their symptoms, and so you have to have an individual plan in order to help combat your journey with Parkinson's. And so it's not like, oh yeah, everybody go box, or oh yeah, everybody go do this. Well, that's not going to work for each individual because we're so different in what we're combating every day, and it's going to change over time. Once you build that cocktail, if something changes in your symptoms, you've got to probably change what you're doing. So it's a fluid thing, and you've got to build that team of people around you, whether it's your exercise professional, physical therapist, occupational therapist. You've got to build that care team around you and let them help carry you, and your support team. So there's a lot of people you got to rely on, and let people help you. That's really, let people help you. This is not a disease you can do on your own. You really can't.
Yeah, that I think that's one of the hardest parts for me sometimes is to let people help, to
Yes.
ask for help. You know, you
Ask
can
for
do it
help.
by yourself, and I'm that same way. That's my hardest part when we talk about your prayer life. That's my hardest part is asking God to do something for me because I feel like I shouldn't ask him. He's given us so much, but just asking is the hard part. But he wants us to ask. So I think
Right.
that's part of he wants us to ask on this level too, because community wants to know they can help.
Right. And everybody's so willing to help others. Right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're all willing to help others and to pitch in for everybody else. So we should be able to, in return, ask for help when we need it too.
Allow them the opportunity to
Right.
be a
Allow
blessing.
people the
Yeah,
opportunity to give
yeah,
back to you.
yeah.
So that's a really important thing as well. We actually have like 4 chapters to get through.
I know, I know. We should
I'm
get
going to go
started.
through it on speed dial here.
Okay. These are all smart people in here. They can read. So if you hit the high
Yeah.
points.
Well, 2 of them are kind of short. Sparks is probably the treadmill one is a good one. So I'll spend probably the longest time on that one.
Okay.
Um, I kind of touched a little bit on the Sparks 3 in chapter 2. I just kind of want you to understand a little bit more about what they're studying, because it's really important for what's going to come out of that study for us in the future. It's an 18 months study, and it's been going on for about a year now. Um, there there is a story in the book about a man who actually completed the study and how it changed his life, and it's a great story.
Which one
Uh,
is that? Which story?
that is, and I just went out of my head. It's in chapter 2, I
And
believe.
what's his name?
I know it just
Oh,
went
okay. That's okay.
it just went out of my head.
Quick
Just
recall of names. That's
I know I just had it, and he's a young guy. Oh yeah, I don't have his picture. His picture's in the new book.
okay. We'll get it.
He's running on a treadmill in the new book.
Okay.
Anyway, he it'll come back to me probably halfway through this.
Okay.
So it's being held at 24 sites in the US and 1 in Canada. And actually and Dr. Alberts is doing this study as well at the Cleveland Clinic. So everybody's kind of involved in this big study. Of course, they're going over the 80 to 85% maximum heart rate and the moderate intensity 60 to 65. And I talked about how the only one that pushed off progression for 6 months, the first time they did it for 6 months, and it slowed progression of disease at that 80 to 85% maximum heart rate. And that's where we got that number. This time they're doing it for 18 months. So it's pretty exciting, but they're doing a lot of other things as well. They've got what's called an OPAL tracking system, and they're looking at people's how it improves their speed, stride length, gait symmetry, and also looking at how it changes their turning velocity, because people with Parkinson's tend to walk, and as they're walking, they tend to slow down when they make a turn. So they're looking to see, how does this treadmill training improve our ability to turn as we walk and be able to just walk normally and make that turn. So there's lots of different things that are being tracked. And they're also looking at some other things. They're looking at like blood markers and of course slowing progression of disease, of course. But they want to just see if well, okay. If you go in the book, I'm not going to go into all of it, but if you go in the book, there's a whole laundry list of all the things they're tracking with this study. Okay. It's going to be really, really great what comes out of these studies. So it's a really important Parkinson's study that's going to tell us a lot of things. If one of the things that when you do treadmill, if you do treadmill, I'll tell you one thing. Treadmill exercise and treadmill gait training are 2 different things. Treadmill exercise is for people who have no balance issues. You can walk on the treadmill, run on the treadmill, and you don't need to hang on to anything to do it. And you can work with the treadmill on an incline or on a flat, and you work with both to make your heart rate go up to whatever target heart rate you're trying to get. Of course, you're starting, just like with cycling, you're starting at a base, building your base 40 to 60% of your maximum heart rate. And of the target is to get to that 80 to 85% maximum heart rate. So it's really, it doesn't matter how you get there. There is no speed, there is no incline. It's just a matter of playing around. And if you like speed, you can go fast. If you like hills, you can go on the hill, and you can do both. So in the new book, I have a bunch of different ways of getting there, of different workouts, and you can kind of pick and choose what you like to do. So gait training, on the other hand, there is a great thing that I will add to this. There is a great thing about treadmill, and that is like I said, it improves your walking speed. It improves your, it can keep you from going to the shuffle. All right. You know how that we have that picture of that man that's going down, 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 down to the point where he's shuffling. All right. And when we get to the point when we're shuffling, that's when we go and have gait training, because gait training can help improve your the movement of your walking. It can improve that stride length. It can improve your ability to move back into a more normal, natural gait. And that you do with a physical therapist. All right. You want to make sure that you have someone who can help you. And sometimes you need like your little halo with the a
arch.
harness to,
Mhm.
and that they can help you improve your gait incredibly. I encourage anybody that is starting to feel they're having any kind of fascination or that little fast movement when they feel like you're losing control of your walking speed. You really want to go see somebody that can help you with your gait training. And if you're just starting, you can get back that walking ability. You can really improve through gait training, and you can hopefully get back to normal walking. And then once you're back at normal walking, you can do exercise on your own and still go on to improve your just natural walking ability through treadmill exercise. So there's a whole way to plan through that with people helping you. So you could go from the physical therapist back to actually, I talk about a man that came to see me in the first chapter of the new book, and he had great balance. He could walk, but slowly. He was just kind of starting to go down that slippery slope. So I had him go because he lived in Illinois. He came to get a cocktail plan from me from Illinois, and I spent 2 days with him. And I had him go back and work with a physical therapist on his gait training, and because he was just starting to go down the slope. And so I told him to go work with her, and then he would be right back where he could walk and work on the treadmill on his own. So it's great to catch these things before, which is why it's good to go and have your assessments done by a physical therapist and assess your mobility, assess your walking, assess where am I in this Parkinson's journey, and catch things before they go south on you. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is strength training. That's another really good one I want to talk about, because it is not stressed enough in our culture, just generally. And it is definitely not stressed enough for Parkinson's. And it certainly needs to be. So after the age of 40, everybody starts to lose muscle mass. Everyone. And it's called sarcopenia, is the loss of muscle mass when it gets to the point that it becomes a disease. And then another thing that's come on the horizon is too much loss of muscle strength, and that's called dynapenia. And I talk about this in the book on the strength training chapter. And it's like, why is this important? Because if we lose too much of either of these things, we just can't perform simple acts of daily life. All right. And why is it even more critical for us with Parkinson's or other neurological diseases? I call it the double whammy because it affects your gait. We're always going back to the gait, but gait is a really big issue for Parkinson's, and it affects your gait. It affects your ability to walk. It affects your balance. It causes for sarcopenia, it causes people to become frail, and you end up with fractures and all these things. And with the dynapenia side of things, people tend to start walking very slowly and you become unstable. And all of these things together create falls. All right. So you got the Parkinson side of things creating falls. Then you've got the muscle stuff causing falls. And this is where all of a sudden we're staring into some really scary statistics that I'm going to tell you about. All right, over 14 million people, 1 in 4, fall yearly. That's not just Parkinson, that's just everybody. That's a lot.
When you say fall, what constitutes something you should report? Like you.
I mean, you literally fall and hurt yourself. You fall and you hurt yourself in some capacity.
Yeah.
All right.
Some people fall better than others.
Well, most of the time you can't get up.
Right. Oh, I always pop back up.
Okay. Okay. Out of that number, 300,000 and end up with a hip fracture.
Oh, yeah.
All right. In a year. All right. Then you have a 5 to 8-fold increased risk of death the first 3 months in the hospital. And now we're jumping into Parkinson's specific. There was a Korean study of over 26,000 people in the Parkinson's group. They were 2 times higher of a risk of hip fractures. All right, 2 times higher. And the mortality rate for the group with Parkinson's in those that had hip fractures, the mortality rate was 2 times higher.
Wow.
Yeah. So let those statistics sink in, because that is insane. And here's the thing. With the muscle part of it, it's preventable, treatable, and reversible without medicine, all through strength training 2 times a week. That does not have to happen. Does not have to happen. So you can prevent 1/2 of that side of the double whammy from happening if you do your strength training twice a week. And if you are frail already, you need to be doing strength training 3 times a week. In fact, Dr. Korkus says in his latest paper that if you are frail, it's more important that you do 3 times a week for strength training and only 2 times of aerobic training, because that muscle training is so much more important if you are frail, for all of those reasons I just talked about. So, and speaking of Dr. Korkus, I talk about his 2-year study of strength training for Parkinson's people in the book. And what they found was that if you strength train, and it's progressive strength training, all right, it's not the group that did, so there was 2 groups. One group did progressive strength training, and that's where you progressively add resistance as the weights get too light. So the group that did progressive strength training had significant motor symptom benefit at the end of the 2 years. And the group that did not did not have significant benefits for their symptom management. And the difference between the two groups was that the one group did not progressively overload their weights. They did like bands and, you know, band, and I don't know, they did stretching, band work and things like that, but they did not use actual weights and increase. That's the difference. So we need to do some weight training. It's really important. And that's why I said in one of the times that we talked, if like young onset people, if they don't have time and their busy schedules, you've got to fit in the aerobic and the strength training. And if you do a circuit training, that's probably your best bet if you're going to have to manage your time. Dr. Corkison and their group, they went on to do another layer of training with resistance, and they added instability to it. And all that is, and I do this with my people all the time. All the people I train we do resistance training. Lots of times with them, they'll do 30 minutes on the bike or 30 minutes on the treadmill, and then we'll do 30 minutes of weight training. And then I do add this other little what's called instability training as well. And it's where you like stand on.
We've got that slip. That's what's it called? Slip simulator or something, where you've seen those, the flat board on the ground.
Oh,
With the
okay,
little
yeah.
rolling slip trainer.
Okay, yeah.
That's
or we do like the foam. They stand on the foam board,
yes.
Or they do weights on Bozu bowls and you know, stand on two the little gel discs, things like that. And that truly does add a whole new dimension to their training with resistance. So they'll do their dumbbell training on it. And I have some pictures in the new book on that as well.
Right.
But that kind of training, what it does is it improves your cognitive ability.
Make that connection. I mean, I think I see it, but
so what it does is that the brain is working in the high motor complexity is working completely different when you're using the instability with the resistance. So the brain is working differently. I can find the little section here where it says that. Read that to you.
She's looking on 117 and 118. She said, Jane in here, and she said that part was really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Section. Oh, I should have written that part down for you. Unfortunately, I don't have my book memorized.
You need to get it on Audible.
You know, somebody said that to me, and I'm going to look into that. So the evidence suggests that exercising when you add the instability, it requires a high degree of attention, memory, and motor difficulty. Yeah, what I said, the high motor complexity. And it produces higher cortical activation than low motor complexity exercises do.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? I do this now. This is really interesting. When I do this with my people who have had DBS surgery, it's like their brains start humming. Their motor, for some reason, the DBS people they actually feel like their frequencies in their DBS are like humming. They think it's the craziest thing.
I would lose my mind. What's left of it?
No, they think it's funny. They think it's really cool. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff. So it's really, really important to, I find that these kinds of, there's just so much that people, especially the women I train, they don't realize how important that the strength training is. And the one thing that is also, they don't realize how much it improves their balance. Their balance is definitely improved when they do their strength training. They feel better. They feel they don't realize how much feeling strong helps in their down, from a standpoint of your whole spine, your whole ability to stand better and walk better. It definitely is something that people don't really, until they do it for a little bit and realize how much it adds to just everything in your body. So I highly recommend it. There isn't a person I don't train that does, I make them try strength training. And I haven't had a person not keep doing it. It's a
Well,
great thing.
it feels great to have a little more strength.
Oh yeah.
And with Parkinson's, you can't always access your strength. Like, I know sometimes you'll go up to a door to push it open and nothing happens because you just,
Well,
that
exactly.
having it and
Exactly.
working with it makes all the difference in the world.
So the next chapter is rock steady boxing. I forgot about this. Is a big chapter. This is one of my favorite chapters, is rock steady boxing. So the reason I chose rock steady boxing, people probably go, why did you put rock steady boxing? I chose rock steady boxing out of, there's a lot of what I call sports activities. We classify them as sports activities. And I think I mentioned that. Dr. Corcus has this thing. There's science proven and there's sports activities. Because science proven has like 20 years of research. Everything's defined. The time, the frequency, everything is defined for how long and what you should do. Sports activities don't have that. There's no, that most of them have some science, but they rely on the science from the research from the science proven to build their programs mostly. But rock steady boxing is a bit different. Rock steady boxing was fortunate that they worked with the University of Indianapolis Physical Therapy and Research for, boy, since they opened pretty much, I think 2006 or 7. So they had a huge body of research for rock steady boxing that most science proven, sports group activities groups don't have. And that's one of the reasons I chose to use rock steady boxing. And like I said, I mean, I could have done a whole book just on science or on the sports activities groups. There's so many of them, but I only had room for one. And so the other reason I chose them is because they are a Parkinson's Foundation program, accredited program. There are not many Parkinson's Foundation programs. And so and I wish I could have put the blue seals in here so that you could recognize. Here's what they look like. The blue seal, they're blue. And when you see these blue seals, one is for exercise programs and one is for education. These are the gold. This is the good housekeeping seals, if you will. All right. When you see these anywhere for, that means that they have been scrutinized, they have gone through rigorous testing and gone through the process through the Parkinson's Foundation, and they are a safe and credible program. So rock steady boxing is a safe, incredible program. They have gone through the process, and so that's why the other reason I picked them. PWR is another one that is a program that has those same seals as well. And I'm trying to think who else. Well, I've listed them in the book.
Yeah.
But there's not a more, they're opening it up more and more to have people get qualified and get their accreditation. But it's really important because, as I'll talk briefly about in chapter, that I do talk about in chapter 11, there are people and things out there that are not. And so it's important to know who you're training with and that you're going to a safe place. So that's what the other reason why I picked Rock Steady Boxing. So chapter 10 is fun. I love it. It's great about Rock Steady Boxing. You know, it's probably one of the few places that were founded by, it was founded by Scott Newman, who he himself had Parkinson's, and he founded it in a time that there was nothing out there. And it's a great story. His friend saw him declining so quickly, and he was pretty famous in his town of Indiana as a pretty tough prosecutor. And so his friend saw him going down fast. He had young onset Parkinson's, and his friend was a boxer, and he started helping him exercise with him, and he started getting better. And so they started, they just kind of got a little group of young onset people, 6 of them, and they just all started working out. And then the story grew, and you'll have to read it if you haven't already. It's quite wonderful to see how it grew from there. But the thing about Rock Steady Boxing is, like I said, Dr. Stephanie Combs, who did all the research, she really found that, she followed these boxers for, over 20 years and found that there's a couple of things I love about the research. And that is, she found that, boxing could be a long-term alternative option to physical therapy, and that they were improving in their balance, their gait, their activities of daily life, their quality of life, that this camaraderie that they built through the boxing program was it was off the charts. And it was at a time when there was nothing out there for people. And the one thing I loved about the research that they always found is that, yes, people that were earlier in their diagnosis, they showed results faster. But they also found that even if you were later, you could start at any point. You could have results. It just took longer. It took longer to see your results, but you got them. You just had to stick it out a little bit longer and work a little bit harder than people that were young or earlier in their diagnosis. And that, I love that. And that is true. I have found that to be very true. Northwestern University did a survey in 2021, and it was a really big survey. I think it was about 2,000 people. And I'm going to pull my notes here, because they found that Rock Steady Boxing participants reported, so for non-motor non-motor symptoms, for their social life, of course, it was really high. 70% of participants loved it. For fatigue, 63% felt like they were improved. They improved their fear of falling by 61.9%. Their depression was 60%. Anxiety, 59% was improved. Now, for motor impairments, their tremors were better by and I've heard this from lots of people, 44%. Falls were improved by 45%. Freezing of gait improved by 45%. And medication wearing off by 27%. And here's the highest rating for all of the 99% of them would recommend Rock Steady Boxing to you.
What was
That's a
that 1%?
that's a pretty high percent.
That is high.
So if you haven't ever done a Rock Steady Boxing class, everybody always thinks, particularly the ladies, think, oh, it's just all boxing, but it really isn't. They do like most people, it's set up to be a 90-minute class, but it's 20 minutes of warming up. They have their famous get to know yas, where they ask a question, and it's always a fun little thing to do. And you get to learn about everybody in the room. And they do songs and chants and all kinds of fun things. And they do stretches and the warm up is a long 20 minutes. And the training is it's more than you do some boxing, but there's also, functional fitness. There's all kinds of things.
Well, I went to Rocksteady in Lexington a couple of times when they had it. I don't think they have it anymore. They have other boxing, but not Rocksteady. And the times I went, we did circuits. So you
Yes,
start
it's
out,
usually
yeah,
set up in a circuit.
yeah. So one circuit has you do so many jumping jacks, and
Yeah,
if you can't do a jumping jack, you just do it with your arms. I mean, you do what
right.
you can
There's
do.
always modifications for everything and for everybody. And normally there's a theme
Mhm.
for, like, today we're gonna work on bradykinesia, or this week is bradykinesia, this week we're gonna work on. So there's usually a focus of the week, if you will, for a particular class that gets woven into how the class is designed. And a lot of it too depends on the instructor who's building the classes. And so it's a lot of fun. Everyone will tell you, as you just heard, it's a lot of fun. And
Mhm.
I mean, everybody can find their favorite parts of it. So it's not just boxing. There is boxing,
Yeah.
but there's a lot more. And the one thing that when I take people through a tryout of what a boxing class is like, they find out how mental it is. There's a lot of
Mhm.
brain work in it because you have to learn these combinations. And so you use your brain a lot more than people realize. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of mental focus to it as well, which is really great for our brains. So
Right.
that's
Right.
really a great component of it.
I
Like,
loved it.
yeah, it's fun. I love teaching it. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so for the back to finding quality, how to find an exercise professional who's qualified to work with you. It's interesting because when I wrote the book, I had several neurologists read the preliminary book. And one of the neurologists I'd worked with for years, he's like, Kristine, you talk about this throughout the entire book, but I think you really better write a whole chapter on it. And I'm like, oh, I know. And it's one of my pet peeves.
It's an
I,
excellent chapter.
I
But it bolstered my argument on the other side a little bit, just
yeah.
because I totally understand why it's so important. Of course, we want highest quality we can, but sometimes when you're in an underserved area, you
Hmm.
have to make a few little adjustments till you get to where you want to be. And it's better to have something rather than nothing.
Mm.
But striving for excellence is always the best.
It is, but even in like an area where I am, there are areas even here where you go and you can go to a big facility and there are people there who have lapsed certifications. They don't keep things up to
Mm-hmm.
date. And it's like, but people don't know what questions to even ask about it. So I try to let people know what are the things, if you go to someone, the main thing I want you to know is just don't assume. Don't
Mm-hmm.
assume that when you go in and somebody says, oh, yes, I'm qualified to teach you. And, or, ask them, I have a book with everything in it. If a new somebody comes in, I show them here, these are all my certifications. I answer all the questions that are in the book for you. Here are, I have my questions sitting here. Um, you know, you should ask these questions. Are you a certified group fitness or a personal trainer? Who certified you? How long have you been working? And you can check these people out on the registry, and have you worked with people? Are you up to date on your CPR? I mean, simple things like that. You'd be
Mm-hmm.
shocked to
Mm-hmm.
find that there are people walking around working with people with Parkinson's that aren't even qualified to do so.
Well,
And
and the way you wrote your chapter is so good. It's good information and good guidelines for, okay, here's what you should do. And I know so many people that are certified, they go through a program and then they end up not following through with getting the paperwork. And for you to have it all in a book,
it,
that's that's great. That's
I mean, you
great.
should. You
Yeah.
really should. And I always tell people, if you've got them, if you're in an organization, put them up on a wall.
Right.
Let people see that you're a good, you are let people know you are who you are. And it's you have to know that you are being trained by people who are qualified to take care of you and that you are not going to be hurt. It's really important that we take care of our Parkinson's people and that you have to know. I just don't want people to blindly walk in and, somebody's running a spinning class that isn't even, you know, doesn't even have one certification iota.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that's a great chapter.
because there's a lot of things out there that, and interview them, please. You are interviewing the person to teach you, and you have every right to sit down and interview them because they shouldn't take for granted that, you know, you want to know for your own sake that they're they're safe to teach you. Okay, now we're on to the future of PD. So Dr. Alberts, I love Dr. Alberts. His is that in the future, you're going to be able to, he's going to have a prediction model, a computer prediction model. And he's going to take all your information and dump it into the model. He's going to have your disease history, your medications, you name it. He's going to have it and he's going to throw it into the magic model. And out's going to pump your exercise prescription. It's going to say exactly how much you need to exercise, what you need to do. And not only that, it's going to tell you, what's it going to tell you? It's going to tell you, oh, how much decrease in motor symptoms you are going to be given by doing such exercise.
Wow.
Wow, that's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yes.
And he thinks that by knowing the precise expected in symptom results, you're going to be motivated and have so much hope and belief in your ability to exercise.
Well, you've already taken that the first step. See, I think you've already gone the first step with that because we know through your book that we can get better because
Right, right.
it would be a rare person that did the 85% model for 6 or 8 months and didn't show any improvement.
Oh, right. You will have improvement. Right.
Yeah.
He's saying he can do
Oh, I think that's fabulous. Sounds
exactly.
wonderful. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Dr. Corcus thinks that after Sparks 3 is done, that all insurance companies are going to give everybody a free treadmill.
Well,
And
yeah, there's other medical equipment they're saying in here that you get if you need it, and so
who knows? He says that he's going to be able to take like blood markers and throw it into Dr. Cork or Albert's machine and tell you if you have some kind of like inflammation in the body that you can, I don't know, you can like bring it down through some other exercise, if I remember his. So that was his future. And Dr. Bloom says, although I wish this was being happening now, that every doctor better start writing exercise, giving you
as the prescription.
a prescription
Yep.
for your exercise.
I mean, that's what we were saying. You put, okay, what medication do you take? Say carbidopa, levodopa,
Yes,
ropinirole, whatever else you take, exercise. So you get up in the morning, do you look at your list and say, I'm going to skip my carbidopa, levodopa today? No, you
right,
don't.
right.
And to skip the exercise is just as important, if not more.
Right, right, because exercise is, and Dr. I think I told you Dr. Alberts already proved that in that study he did that exercise actually did better than the
Yes.
medicine.
Yes.
So, and then my hope, and I'm trying to make this happen, is that there will be an NCCA certification that for Parkinson's so
Yeah.
that people have, we do have, we don't have that. There's one for cancer, there's one for almost every illness, but there's not one for Parkinson's.
Well, we're moving along with Parkinson's, I think. I feel like it's getting more attention. And
It is.
just
It
this
is.
last couple of months working with our state legislature has been really remarkable because of all the people along the way. Every time I was there, there were people that either came up to me or spoke to the Senate or to the legislature, asked for time to tell about
Right.
their family member who had died with Parkinson's and that they were so glad. One of the senators said he thought this was the most important bill of the session. So I thought that
That's
was pretty
awesome.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you and I and Dr. Worthy talked the other day, and I've got a call in to Kaiser, the bicycle people. And
Mhm.
after we got off the phone, he said, that's the bike she likes. That's the bike she's used. Let's not even think about what other bike we might use. So I love when people do that for me. Otherwise, I'll run around afraid I'm spending too much money on something, but you want
Yeah.
quality. But what impressed me the most about what you said, you see this upright bike, it's not a recumbent. And of course, some people are going to need a recumbent. So we'll
Right.
include a recumbent. But most people, almost all people, can get with help on the regular bike and do just fine. And pretty soon they're ready for the shoes with the clips
Yep.
because they get more power out of that.
Yep.
I used to ride on road bike all the time, and I always used clips, and it was great. It was funny though because right before I got diagnosed with Parkinson's, I just could not figure out why I couldn't get my foot out of that left clip fast enough.
Ah.
And now I know. So, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting that you said everybody ends up loving the upright bikes like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So we don't want anybody to be afraid of what they're coming into, and we want everybody to be, from the information you've given us, willing to give it a try, hoping that what you're telling us is going to work. And I believe it wholeheartedly, and I hope that everyone else will too.
Yeah. I think so. You should show them the picture of everybody, the triathlon one with them
Oh,
all.
yeah, that's a
That's a
great
great
one.
picture. I love that picture.
We'll post some things about that as we're putting together our studio.
That was such a fun event. They were so funny when we did that.
Tell the group about this.
So that we were in cycle class one day, and they were all just chatting before class started, and they were talking about how they were cycling today, and tomorrow they were going to walk around the track, and then they were going to go to the pool and do their little pool thing. And I said, well, it sounds to me like you guys are preparing for a triathlon. And they're, oh no, we could never do that. What are you talking about? I'm like, well, it sure sounds to me like you're getting ready for a triathlon. Oh, no, 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 we can't do that. And I'm like, well, why not? You tell me what it would take for you to do a triathlon. And they're like, well, first of all, we are not walking around in those darn wet swimming suits. And I said, okay, well, we will do the swim last. And well, we can't really swim. I said, well, that's fine. You can walk in the pool. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, I said, so you're going to swim last. How long do you want to swim for? They're like, well, 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. All right, you got 10 minutes. Well, what's next? Okay, so we're going to do swim last. Well, what do you want to do first? And they're like, well, we can walk, we can walk on the track with some of them had canes, some of them had walkers, some of them did, oh, well, some of them like the treadmill too. I'm like, okay, well, what do you think? How long? Well, 15 minutes. We could do 15 minutes. I said, okay, 15 minutes. You can do the track, you can do the treadmill, you can do whichever you want. I said, okay. I said, so what about the bike? Oh, we can kick ass on the bike. 45 minutes. Wait a minute. I said, wait a minute. What? Other people are going to do this with us. I don't think they can do 45 minutes because you guys can. They're like, oh, all right, we'll be nice. 30 minutes, 30 minutes on the bike. So we ended up doing it with the cancer group did. So we had one group, the cancer group went first, and then the Parkinson's group went second. And then we opened it up to anybody who ever wanted to do a triathlon, but were afraid to do a triathlon. So like parents and their kids at the Y did it too. So it was a great day. It was absolutely
Wow.
great.
Well, that needs to be our goal. Well, we don't have a
Yeah.
pool. We
Well, then
don't
they
have
were
a
like,
pool.
but you could always do it as like a duathlon too.
Yeah, and we can figure out the pool thing.
Yeah, but
There's always a way.
it was such a great day. I mean, I went and I got them their swag bags with stuff from people in it, and we had we had medals, and we had a great time. It was
Well,
and they were
Kristine,
so thrilled that they all finished.
that's exciting. That's how many how many were there?
There was like 30
Oh,
of the Parkinson's group. Yeah.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was awesome.
Well, you are doing fabulous work. Does anybody have any questions before we part ways with Kristine for now? I'm going to call you this afternoon.
Okay.
Oh, well, she's waiting for readers to read it, right? She said, when will the second book
Oh
be
yeah,
out?
yeah, yeah. I've got so the readers, and then that comes back. It's got kind of it goes through a long process. So I'm hoping maybe June.
Yeah, that's not too bad at all. And I'm going to get into it as now that we've got a few big things out of the way. So I will get into it, but it's what I've looked at is great. Roger, your question? Oh, it's on Amazon.
Specific amounts for the cocktail. I can't.
Do what? Wait, what did Kristine say?
I just read the question. The
Oh,
question
from
was,
Karen.
can I give specific amounts for the cocktail? And the reason why I can't is because it is determined by the individual person.
We have to go see Kristine, Karen. We'll meet up in,
She'll understand more when she reads the other book.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she will read it. This girl recommends something to me every day that I need to read, so she will. Oh, okay. He's Roger's talking about a group he goes to a couple of times a week, and he's introduced your book there. So,
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
one said he'd already gotten it, and they're liking it. Everybody likes it. So, yeah, I think what we're doing here is helping promote it a little bit. I sure hope so, because not just because I want your book to be promoted, but because people with Parkinson's need this information. It's just critical. So, um, Karen, walking to everyone for an assessment. Can you get, oh, that's the old question? Okay. Oh, she's wanting to know how you can be contacted for an assessment.
Oh, you can give them my email.
Okay. Her email. We'll share it. We'll share it later. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Well, Kristine, we are so appreciative of this. I just can't. The change within this last 3.5 or 4 weeks of working on this have just been amazing mind change for me. And I think everybody that's been coming here and been listening, and to be able to provide this information to other people. And I've been coming up with my Chat GPT plans this morning. Fundraising, laying out a cycling studio, and some of those kinds of things. So when I've got to call into the Kaiser people, so we'll see
That's so
where all that
exciting.
goes.
It's all exciting.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I want you to send me a group picture with your guys' holding the books, because
That's
I put them
great.
on my website I have pictures of people from all over the world.
We will
So
do that right now.
yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys, and
All
keep me
right.
posted on your
Oh,
guys'
I will.
progress.
I will. Thank you, Kristine.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you. Bye-bye.